Okay, so I think we're live. It is, wow, it's 1:13. Okay, so I'm a little late. Sorry about that. It is today is the 20th, early Sunday morning. I've been out trying to get some footage for you guys. I just got back about 15 minutes ago, so I had to upload all the stuff to the computer and all of that shit. So, anyways, tonight we're going to go over the Connecticut River Valley case stuff from this week. A little backstory on that too. Hey, Paula Fitzhenry, how are you? Good to see you. Hey, Miranda, good to see you. Gonna go over the Asha degree case. Son and Gail did a great job last night covering that case too. Honeybee's here. It's Honeybee. Good to see you, Honeybee. So again, sorry I'm a little late, but I was out. Heather Brown's here. Hi, Heather Brown. How are you? Good to see you. Necessarily able to see Charles. Again, sorry I'm a little late, but I just got back from being on location over there. So let me play an intro and I'll be right back. Again, we're going to go over the Connecticut River Valley stuff, the Asha degree stuff, and that's plus other shit. So hold on a second. To see everybody. Hope everybody's having a good week. It's 22 degrees out. That's amazing. Let me hold on a second. I'm going to play this one and I'll be right back. Hey, Son and Gal, good to see you. Be right back, guys. All right, so good to see everybody here. Good to see Heather Brown. Paula's in the chat. Paula Fitzhenry's here. Honeybee's here. Honeybee's awesome. Charles is here. Miranda Lee. Silent Gal is awesome. She's here. And Mino Dino's here. So it's good to see everybody. Sorry I'm a little late. But I was out getting some footage on the stuff that I'm going to cover tonight. It never seems to amaze me how far away these places are until I actually get there, and then I tried to make it back for 12:30. That didn't happen. But anyway, so enough about me. I'm going to get going on this stuff here. It's good to see everybody. Hope everybody's good. But let's see here. No, I didn't cancel. I almost did, but I didn't. All right. So I'm going to pull this up here. So this week here gets a little bit of information what's going on in this case here, but I want to give a little backstory here on this. So I got involved. It's amazing how some of these cases that I try to look into open up another can of worms, and they end up opening other cans of worms, and then you start investigating those kinds of cases, and then you get more information on this case here, and then it turns in and it snowballs into other different cases, and then you find yourself, just with way too much work. But anyways, I got involved in this Connecticut River Valley case as kind of like a spin-off to this Mindy West case that I basically started a long time ago, way back probably 2002, maybe, because I knew Mindy. She went to school, went to the same school, lived in the same town, basically lived on the same street. Um, so, I mean, I don't want to say we were best friends. We basically lived in the same area, but she was a good kid. She was great. Uh, didn't expect things to turn out with her the way they turned out with her. But anyways, while investigating her case, I ran into what they call the Maine Salesman cases that happened down in Worcester, Massachusetts, out a little in Worcester, Massachusetts, on a street called Maine South, which is basically the ghetto of that area there. And there was a whole bunch of unalivings that went on. Thank you, Honeybee, for putting that in the chat. So, anyways, while investigating the Maine South Woodsman cases, I came across the Connecticut River Valley unalivings. I'll get rid of my face here. So that's what's put me onto that case there. So I've been doing that for the last 4 or 5 years. So I've covered this case here. Let me pull some stuff up for that. But you can take this Mindy West case for all of the stuff here that I've been covering. So we're going to go over the Connecticut River Valley. I've done probably 6 or 7 different lives on this case here, Connecticut River Valley. Extensively. So we'll play this here first, and then we'll go over the case here. There's probably going to be a commercial here. Sorry. Let me hold on a second here. Share this here. Peggy's here. Hey, Peggy, good to see you. I'm not even going to bother trying to last name. Bradenback. But good to see you. Very good to see new people here in the chat. Let me see here. This thing's still okay. So this is Jane Broski here. She's a surviving victim of this whole case. She's arguably one of the greatest people in the universe. I try not to bother her as much as possible. She was one of the last victims of the Connecticut River case. Let me pause this here. But they last September, they basically were out in the area that I'm going to show you guys. I took a little bit of footage from that tonight over there in Kellyville, New Hampshire, with some search warrants, which is good news. And we're all under the suspicion that it was in direct result to this case here. But that wasn't known at the time, but I'm pretty sure right now that it is. So she's the only survivor of this so-called string of killings here that happened along the Connecticut River Valley in New Hampshire and Vermont. So she basically got brutally assaulted back in August 6, 1988. She basically went to what they call the Cheshire Fair down in that's in Swansea. She stopped at a gas station to get a can of soda in one of the vending machines, and she was just brutally attacked. And she made it. She was also pregnant at the time, and the baby made it too. So everything basically worked out that way. But she's been an advocate, obviously, for this case for a long time. And let me see if I can play this. Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
To grab a soda at this gas station in Swansea.
Said this vehicle pulled, parked next to me. And next thing I know, he gets out, walks around the back side of my car, up to my car door and opens it and tried to take me out of the car.
Jane fought back, not just for herself, but to save her unborn baby. She was 7 months pregnant.
Next thing I know, he tackled me down and was on top of me on the ground and started stabbing me.
The man stabbed her 27 times before walking back to his car.
I know that he left me for dead.
But Jane and her baby survived. While in the hospital, she came to realize that her story was all over the news. She was likely the victim of a cold-blooded killer.
And he has to know where I live. He's going to want to come back and get.
But the thing is that I'm really bad at names. Terrible at names. I'm sorry this is so small. So I'll come back to this later probably, but I just wanted to play that now. But good to see you. Let me know if I got it anywhere close. But good to see you here. Yeah, this woman's been through hell. She literally has. Yeah, Senegal is amazing. She did an awesome job on the Asha degree case last night. Senegal, amazing person. All right, so let's go back to this.
Get me.
From 1978 to 1987, 7 women were found stabbed to death within close proximity of one another. Her Milliken was found in October 1978 in New London. The remains of Mary Elizabeth Critchley were found in August of 81 in Unity. Ellen Freed's body was found in September 1985 in Newport. In a 10-day period in April of 1986, 3 victims were found dead. First, on the 15th, Linda Moore was found dead of more than 20 stab wounds in her home in Westminster, Vermont. 4 days later, Bernice Courtemanche's skeletal remains were found off Capitol Road in Newport. An autopsy revealed she had been stabbed to death. Then, 6 days later, the body of Eva Morse was found in West Uni. She had also been fatally stabbed. And in March of 1987, Barbara Agnew was found dead in Heartland, Vermont. The cases became known as the Connecticut River Valley killings. Investigators at the New Hampshire Attorney General's office have never officially convicted all the murders, but they've been trying to track down a suspect for almost 47 years.
Yeah, she got a pretty good look at him because she basically fought for her life. I mean, she forget what they just said about how many was poked. Was pregnant at the time too, and he basically just came right up to her car. Something about the phone or something. He said something about the phone back then, or the pay phones. And he basically just opened the door and just attacked her. And somehow they got into the parking lot. Her story is amazing. Her podcast, I think, is the Invisible Tears podcast. And she's just, I can't say, she's just an amazing person. I don't know how she survived that. But let's go back to this here.
You think the killer will be out there?
I'm not going to comment on that further. It's our obligation, it's our duty to be investigating each of these cases.
A possible break in the cold cases came in May of 2024. Investigators descended on a new home, executing a court-authorized search warrant. News 9.
So this is the footage. I was just there about an hour ago, and I'll play that. Unfortunately, I couldn't get a good shot of the house because it was kind of dark. And my phone doesn't pick up a lot of shit sometimes, but I'll play it anyways.
Investigators learned through sources the
So this is where they were. This is like the barn off house here.
possible evidence moved from the home that day, and the police interviewed a person who lives there. We've also learned that it wasn't the first time that that person was questioned in connection with at least one of murders, but we also know that they've not been charged with any crime.
Getting that search warrant absolutely gave me hope that they are investigating these cases more. I still feel like they could do more.
A lot of the investigative activity that we're engaged in is not visible to the public.
Jane says for many years she lived with the fear that the killer would come back for her, but now
There's stab wounds here.
She carries her scars as a badge of honor.
I survived him. And that's something you can never take away from me. I have so many questions. Did he follow me? Was he sitting there watching me? You know, it's what made him so evil.
That was Catherine Underwood. We have much more on the Connecticut River.
Okay, so I do want to pull this here. Like I said, it's good to see everybody here in the chat. Mino Dino's here. Thank you, Mino Dino, for coming in. Let me get rid of this for now, and then we'll kind of go over this here. But this whole thing has the timeline attached to it. So she was 7 months pregnant, and she basically she forced herself to get back into her car, and she drove basically down the street. She came to a house, and I think it was a friend's house, one of her houses, and she basically crawled up to the porch, and the people there basically came out, grabbed her. But I believe from other stories that she told, the driver or her attacker was basically following her. And if she wouldn't have been on the porch with those people there, he probably would have attacked her again. So, but according to her, it was a Jeep. I think it was a Jeep. What do they call it? Station wagon Jeep. So I forget the name of those. The not the Cherokee, but the other one. But anyways, okay. So let me do this here. I want to go to this here. Give me 2 seconds. I just do that. Hold on a second. All right, so let me get out of here. Am I not here? Cutting out of everybody. I'm still here. No. Oh, hold on a second. All right, so let's see here. So these are where all of these so-called crimes took place. So yeah, it's Swansea. This is where she was, Jane Borowski was, and then the Westminster was 2 in Unity, 1 in Unity, and 1 in West. So that just changed that for me. West Unity and then regular Unity here. Newport, right outside of Newport, and then New London, and then Heartland. I'm not saying, I don't think all of these are connected. They could be. And then here's all the victims here. I think this is in order here. And then there's Jane Borowski there. So I do want to play. Let's see if I can play this now. My volume fading out again. Hold on a second. Let me stop that. Okay, so let's go to pictures. All right, so this is 706. Okay, so this is me. It's cutting out for you too?
Okay, so
Okay, so this is me. I just arrived at the I was just about to leave the gas station, so there's this one here.
I'm about to head out in Hillsborough, New Hampshire now. What time is it? It's 9:47. I don't know what the date is today. I know it's still February. I'm gonna go to the spot where they've been digging around for the Connecticut River Valley killer over there in Kellyville, New Hampshire, to show you that. But I just wanted to come on and tell you what's going on. I'll be going out later tonight, early Sunday morning, about 1 o'clock. I hope to be back by then. Shouldn't take me long this time. when we get there, when we get to Unity, when we get to, Kellyville, New Hampshire, after that, I'm going to take a trip down to Unity Stage Road in Unity, New Hampshire to give the area to where I think 2 of the victims were found. All right, so enough of that. This is Dave. I'll be back shortly. See you then.
Okay, so hold on a second. I'm pulling up a map too here. All right, so let me go to. Yeah, I'll bring up the sketches in a here. Let me see here. Let's get rid of stop this that there. I'll play part 2, which will be at. I think it's this one here. Sorry.
Okay, so I'm about to head out. I'm in
Whoops, wrong one. Okay,
Hillsborough.
let me remove this here. I just uploaded these to my computer, so they're not in order. So hold on a second. This is the one here, I think.
Okay, so I just arrived on
Okay,
they
so
call it Ayers.
where I am now is basically where they were searching for in May. I said September, but I misspoke. It was May. So this is the road here.
Road in there's some discrepancy of whether or not this is Kellyville or Newport. So I'm just going to say outside of Newport, New Hampshire, but it's technically where the property is. I think technically it's Kellyville, which is basically outside. It's a small little village outside of Newport, New Hampshire. But let me turn the camera around here, and this is the house here. I'm on Ayers Road right now, so it's kind of like a small. I think this is a dirt road, but this is the house here that they were searching here. It's right on the corner of this Route 11 coming up. This is the house. That's see. So that's the house there. Wrong window. So that's the house there. I don't know if you can see it. But this is the corner here. So that's the property that they were searching. So right now I'm going to go back to Unity Stage Road in Unity, New Hampshire. On what they call Ayers Road in there's some discrepancy of whether or not this is Okay, so I just arrived on what they call Ayers Road in. There's some discrepancy of whether or not this is Kellyville or Newport. So I'm just going to say outside of Newport, New Hampshire. But it's technically where the property is. I think technically it's Kellyville, which is basically outside. It's a small little village outside of Newport.
Okay, sorry about that. My computer, something going on with the internet, so I just changed to a different server. Apparently, it's just not working well. So, anyways, back to where we were. Basically, right outside where they were searching back in May. I'm on the same exact street. So hopefully, this server or internet service works a little bit better. There we go.
New Hampshire, but let me turn the camera around here. And this is the house here. I'm on Ayers Road. There's some discrepancy of whether or not this is house here.
Okay, so I'm coming up here to the end of Ayers Road here. This is Route 10. I'm sorry, Route 11 that runs across here. The house is right on the corner here. But when I pan the camera over to the house, you're not going to be able to see a lot because it's dark. So I'm
on Ayers Road right now. So it's kind of like a small, I think this is a dirt road, but this is the house here that they were searching here.
So let me go back a little bit here.
On Ayers Road right now. So it's kind of like a small, I think this is a dirt road, but this is the house here that they were searching.
So you just saw the white barn that we saw.
It's right on the corner.
Basically right there. That's where they were. That's where the police vehicle was, right in this driveway here.
This is Route 11 coming up. This is the house. That's the you can see. So that's the house there. Wrong window. So that's the house there. I don't know if you can see it. It's dark. But this is the corner here. So that's the property that they were searching. So right now I'm going to go.
Okay, so I'm basically just going to tell people where I'm going to go to the next location. But let me do this here. Hold on a second. New Hampshire. So let me share this here. Hold on a second here. I'm hoping to do a little bit more of this on location stuff here shortly. All right, so here's New Hampshire here. And they consider this to be the Connecticut River Valley here on the western side of the state. Here's Vermont over here. And here's there's Claremont there. And if you go a little bit north of that, you're going to hit Newport. So this is the route here that we were at, Route 11 right here. And I'm going to try to let me just do this here. So this is the route here. hold on a second. So here's the Vermont line here, New Hampshire line here. There's the river here, the Connecticut River here, and that's what they're calling this group of unalivings here. Is the Connecticut River Valley unaliving. So let me see if I can figure this out here. Get on Route 11 here. There's Route 12. There's Unity Stage Road. We're going to be heading. So what I did is I was up here, and I'm going to head down now to Unity Stage Road here to where two of the bodies are found on this road here. But everything is basically along this stretch of road here. There's one that was way up in. Let me get over here. Hold on a second. Let me put the guy over here. He won't let me go there. What's this here? Dunbarton Road. Okay, I don't want Dunbarton Road. Okay, so let's go back. Stop that screen there. Let me pull up hold on a second. And then we'll read a little bit of this. All right, so let's read a little bit of this here. Okay, so here we go. This is the Connecticut River Valley Killer, also known as the Valley Killers, moniker for an unidentified SKer believed to be responsible for at least 7 unalivings of young women in the Connecticut River Valley region of New England between 1978 1988. There's also the New Boston highway guy that was doing his stuff between, I think it's 1989 or 19. I'll look that up in a second here. But that's I'll explain that in a little bit. In 1985 and 1986, the skeletal remains of 2 victims were recovered within 1,000 feet from each other in a wooded area in Kellyville, New Hampshire. So we'll look that up in a second. Basically, multiple knifing wounds between the recovery of the first and second bodies. A 36-year-old woman was fatally unalived inside her home in Saxon River, Vermont. This one here is the one I'm having questions about as far as it being incorporated with these. Then 10 days later, the remains of a third missing woman were found, also bearing evidence of unaliving wounds. At this point, investigators were not considering all of these cases to be connected. At the peak of the investigation and after additional homicides and one non-fatal attack, investigators noted similarities of the MO, often using the dump sites and all of that stuff. Okay, so I will go over this a little bit. Catherine Milliken left work. I've got all of this stuff in my older videos that I did about this person, but these are the victim names. Catherine Milliken, 78. She was the one that was found in the preserve in New London, New Hampshire. Elizabeth Critchley, University of Vermont, disappeared. She was the one that was basically hitchhiking from Mass Turnpike all the way back up to Waterbury, Vermont. Her body was found in Unity Stage Road in Unity, New Hampshire. So we're going to go there next. So let's do that now. That mixed up Colonial Parkway murders. Hey, Miss Persevere, good to see you. It's because of PJ here that got me into this. Because she I think it was her that sent out the thing last week about them searching that property again. Hold on a second here. Let me play this. I can remove this one here. Okay, so now we're going to go to the trip I took to Unity Stage Road here. And that's what took me so long to get back, because it's a lot farther than I thought.
Okay, so I am on technically Unity Stage Road right now. I just got off of Route 12. I was just up at the spot where they were out searching the New Hampshire State Police, I believe involved in the Connecticut River Valley unalivings. That was up on Ayers Road in Kellyville, or technically Newport. So it took me, I don't know, about 15 minutes to get here. It's about 5 miles from that location. So I'm going to do, hold on a second, I'm going to kind of turn the camera around. I'm going to show you this road here. This is Unity Stage Road. This is the road I believe 2 of the victims were found. But Route 12, this Route 12 stretch here goes from Claremont all the way down to Keene, and then basically into Massachusetts and Vermont. But it basically connects. It's I think it's the last route until you get to Vermont. I could be wrong about that, but it basically parallels Interstate 91. So let me turn the camera around. This is the road. I think this road goes about 2 miles or so. But 2 of the bodies were found here. I don't remember the names of the bodies that were found on this road here, but you see it's a pretty backcountry road here. And there's plenty of wooded area. I don't know the exact location to where the bodies were found. I tried to get answers from a whole different bunch of sources that I have, but I couldn't find. But I'm assuming it's away from Route 12. So when I get back, I'm just going to go a little bit more. You can see this is a lot snowier than it was a few weeks ago when we were up in Woodsville, Vermont. Woodsville, New Hampshire. Why do we keep saying Woodsville, Vermont? It's a lot snowier than it was in Woodsville, New Hampshire, when we checked out the Mara Murray case up there. We've gotten, I don't know, probably about 24 inches of snow in the last couple of weeks, so that's why. But they didn't get half as much as we got over in where I am. But still, you can see it's pretty narrow. But this is all wooded in here, so could have been anywhere in here. This is a perfect place to get rid of some bodies if you wanted to. Anyways, so I'm let's see here.
Right. So, okay, Honeybee, good to see you. I just trying to have a good week. Good to see you. Honeybee's awesome. She does great work. Got a great channel. Honeybee's amazing. I hope you have a great week. Stay safe. But if you, I'm going to go here now to this. Hold on a second. Let me share this here. Okay. So here's basically the map that I was trying to get to earlier. So here's Route 12 here. Here's 91. This is Route 5. So basically, let me back out of this a little bit here. So basically, all of these unalivings took place on this stretch of road here between Keene, which is down in here, all the way up to, here's Unity Stage Road. So that's the road we were just on there, and that connects with 12A. But if you go this way too, this also connects with the 2nd New Hampshire Turnpike here, which is Route 10. And this goes all the way down to Keene, Leominster. You know, this is all connected here. So basically, here's Route 10 here. This goes all the way up to Newport, where one of the other bodies was found. I'm on these roads all the time, so I know these roads like the back of my hand here. Here's Newport. And if you keep going down Route 10 here, you're going to get to Claremont. And the strange thing about this whole case, these cases here, is there's probably about 6 or 7 different hospitals within, I would say, a 60-mile radius. So you have, let's go back to the map here. So you have, get back out of this. So down here in Keene, you have, so Keene's right here. So Keene, you have Keene Medical here. You get up to Claremont, you have Claremont Valley Regional here, the hospital. You have a hospital here in New London Valley Regional here. You have, of course, Lebanon, which has Dartmouth. Also, Alice Peck Day is up there. You have a hospital. You have the Dartmouth College over here. But what I'm saying is there's so many different hospitals along this stretch that I wonder if this guy here was associated with the hospitals in some strange way, because there's just so many hospitals here, and this route takes you through all of the different hospitals. You can go from Keene, if you wanted to go to New London Hospital here, you could just go up Route 10. If you wanted to go to Claremont Valley Regional here, you could just go up Route 12. If you wanted to go to Lebanon, you just hop on 91 over here, get up to Lebanon. And then obviously the Boston hospitals are down here. There's another hospital here in Walpole, I think. So I'm just wondering if this guy here was connected in some strange way to these routes here via these hospitals. Just something I've been thinking about there with that. It's terrible. I'm getting stressed just watching you drive in that snow. I'll tell you, we went up to Woodsville a couple weeks ago. Remember, we went up to. That's how I got onto the Mara Murray case too, is because of this case here. But we went up to Woodsville, New Hampshire, a few weeks ago, and there was maybe 4 inches of snow on the ground. But within the last 2 weeks here, we've gotten buried. We got probably like 8 to 10 inches of snow last week, and then between the 2 weeks I've been up there and now, it's a good 24 inches of snow in 2 weeks. The road is, I mean, the roads are fine. There's no, what you get now in February is you get, especially late February, is you get, the melting during the day and then the refreezing at night. So let's take a little drive. I'm going to take a little drive here. So this is basically where we were right here. And this is where a couple of the bodies were found here, is on Unity Stage Road here. But I want to go back to reading this a little bit, and then we'll move on to something else. But I just wanted to hold on a second. Jenny's here. Yes, that's perfect. Who said that? Like an ambulance driver. Yes, EMT or somebody like that. Somebody who worked in the hospital system there, because it's just strange how Lisa Joe's here. Hey, Lisa Joe, good to see you. It's just strange how, and most of these victims were either nurses or part of the hospital system. And that's what we're going to do now. We're going to go back to this here. Jenny 8675309's here. Let's do this here. Go back to this. I want to share this here. Good to see everybody tonight. Sorry for the malfunctions, but I really had to rush home. I didn't leave. I didn't leave Unity Stage Road till about 12 o'clock probably. So I tried to rush to get back. It's just far. You can't. Even with my light speed driving, it's terrible. All right, so let's go back. I want to go back to this here. Okay, so where did we finish? Okay, on May 30th, 1984, Bernice Quartermarch, 37-year-old nurse's aide. See, a lot of these victims, student at the University of Vermont. She was, I think, studying to become a nurse. Okay, so where was I? She was thought to have set out to see her boyfriend in Newport by hitchhiking along New Hampshire Route 12. There's that route again. She did not reach her destination, but was reported missing. So, I mean, all of these, you read all of these: knife wounds to the chest, injury to the head. There's a guy that there's a forensic FBI guy that did a huge story on this. I've also been in contact with John Kelly with this stuff here. He has a whole thing on this too. Here we go with Ellen Ruth Freed. July 22nd, 1984, 26-year-old Ellen Ruth Freed, a supervising nurse at Valley Regional Hospital. So there you go. That's in Claremont. Was last seen making a late night stop around 2 a.m. to use a payphone. I know exactly where Leo's Market is. Her car was found abandoned on Jarvis Road a few miles. This is the one. Her skeletal remains were found in a wooded area near the banks of the Sugar River on September. I'm going to try to get out to this location here at some point. So anyways, there's Eva Marie Morse, who was last seen hitchhiking near the border of Charleston, New Hampshire on Route 12. Morse's remains are found by loggers in Unity, New Hampshire. We were just there, about 500 feet from where Critchley's body had been discovered in 1981. So this one here, Eva Morse and Critchley here, they were both basically found in the same area. Same MO, pretty much. Post-mortem examination found evidence of knife wounds, all of that stuff. So this is the one here. These two here, I don't know if they're connected to these or not. This is Route 121. Linda Moore, she was doing this one here to me. I don't know. I would have questioned some of the family here in this. But anyways, she's being lumped in with all of these. Route 121 at 2 p.m. while her husband is at work. So this one here, she was 2 p.m. Most of these other ones were done at night. Her husband returned home after an hour. She was last seen to find his wife's body in the living room. Apparently, she was outside doing yard work, and then she maybe went in to get the phone, and she was attacked. The following year, a composite sketch was released, and this is the reason why I'm saying this guy here. I don't know. I don't know if this one here is involved, but they have her linked with all of the other ones. So. This one here, Barbara Agnew was last seen heading to her home in Norwich, Vermont. Snowplow driver encountered her green BMW at a northbound interstate rest stop in Hartford, Vermont. The door was cracked. This one here is possible because it's along that same kind of route. So these are all the victims right here, basically. And this is Jane Borowski. Her name is infamous with this case here. Her daughter was diagnosed with mild cerebral palsy, but I think her daughter's fine. And these are other possible victims here. 15-year-old Joanne Dunham. I'm going to be doing a live on her fairly shortly here. This was in 1968. And then there's some other ones here. There has been some suspects here. I think this guy's dead. Already here, but I don't think they've ever cracked this case, to be honest with you. But like I've said, I've done Dirty Diana's here. Hey, Dirty Diana, how are you? Good to see everybody. Peggy's going to bed. All right. Good night, Peggy. Thank you for coming in. I really appreciate it. It's too big of a coincidence that at least the nurses aren't connected. Yeah, this is the dilemma that I've been going through for the past at least 8 years here with this case. But the good news is I think there's a little bit of movement going on with this case here in the last few months or so. All right, so I'm gonna get out of this for now. and then we'll move on to something else. But I just wanted to let's go back to the map really quick. It's always good to see everybody here again. Sorry for the complications, but like I said, I had to rush to get back to get the videos uploaded here, and it's just not enough time in a freaking day here. All right, so here's New Hampshire again here. This is basically Vermont, New Hampshire here, and this is most of the people in New Hampshire live right here in the south, on the coast, or right along the border here. There's nobody basically up in here. Nobody. So here's basically all of these unalivings took place in basically from Claremont down to Charleston here. And there's I think there's 8 of them. But if you look at these routes here, if you're going from Keene and you want to get up to, say, Newport Valley Regional Hospital here, anywhere to New London here, you're basically just going to go right up Route 10. Same here, Claremont Hospital, and then you go all the way up to Lebanon here. But these routes are traveled all the time by nursing staff, hospital workers, everything. I mean, there's so many hospitals in here. I'm just wondering if this guy was, and I do want to show you this here too, really quickly. 1980. Let's just do 1982 Jeep Wagoneer. All right. One more thing on this here. You have a cousin that lives in Keene. I've done a lot of work in Keene. Keene's a great place. So this vehicle right here is technically the vehicle. Let me pull up a green one here, more of a green color here. But this is on bigger wheels here. But this is the kind of vehicle that Jane Borowski said the guy was driving here. Find one that's not lifted. There's one here. The old Jeep Wagoneers here with the paneling. My dad had one of these. Awesome in the snow, but these things were wicked heavy. But this is the kind of vehicle that she said the guy was kind of driving. Jane Borowski, anyways. So it could have been something like this here, or it could have been a regular station wagon with the paneling. They don't make these anymore. But that's what she said. There's a green one right there. So, but these were expensive vehicles back then. These cost a fortune to get. All right, so let's move on to something else. I'm going to go dig something else up. I wanted to cover the, hold on a second, Asha degree case. Southern Gal did a great job on this here too last night. Asha degree is one of those cases I've been following forever. She's, the good news is I think this movement going on in that case too. But let's play this here. Hold on a second. And this one was done 7 days ago. So let's do this. I think Southern Gal did this one last night too. I'm not sure. But I'll play this here, and then I'll basically fill you in on the details to her case. Yes, Southern Gal did an amazing job with her this case here last night. I was driving around, so I couldn't really put too much of my 2 cents in there. But anyways, let me pull up her case here. I've done a few videos on this case here. It's just really weird, this case here. But I think I got it now with this case. All right, so just a background on her. Asha Jaquila Degree went missing at the age of 9 from Shelby, North Carolina, United States. In the morning hours of February 14th, 2000, for reasons unknown, she packed her book bag, left her family home north of the city, and began walking along nearby North Carolina Highway 18. Despite heavy rain and wind, Several passing motorists saw her, and when one turned around at a point 1.3 miles from her home and began to approach her, she left the roadside and ran into a wooded area. In the morning, her parents discovered her missing from her bedroom, and she has not been seen since. An intensive search that began that day led to the location of some of her personal effects near she was last seen. A year and a half later, her book bag, still packed, was unearthed from a construction site along Highway 18 north of Shelby in Morganton. And at that point, where she had ran into the woods, a billboard now stands appealing for help. So let's play this from, I believe this is from her parents. One thing I will say about North Carolina, because I've been there before and I've been on these roads here in North Carolina, they are freaking dark. At night, they are really dark. You can't see anything at night, especially when it's raining. I don't know what it is about those roads there. Maybe it's because they're so straight. You can't see a damn thing at all. And if you're not paying attention, they're very narrow too. They're not very, very, wide.
To a family in Shelby. Harold and Aquila Degree's little 9-year-old girl just hours earlier had been reported missing. She wasn't the type to run away, to take risks, yet for some reason still unknown, she grabbed her book bag and left her bedroom and her house in the middle of the night. It's a disappearance still unsolved, a mystery her parents live with every single day. For 25 years, someone who traveled this road, who has been through this town, has kept a secret. Are you convinced someone still living in this town has the answer?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It's hard to believe somebody can keep that to themselves for 25 years and not tell somebody, It's hard to believe that I don't know if they got kids or don't have kids, but if they got kids or nieces and nephews, like they would have been come forward.
Aquila and Harold Degree have had to live with the burden, a quarter century of not knowing what happened to their little girl. So if someone in this county knows what happened, Aquila, they may be watching tonight. What would you say to them?
Why not just tell the truth? What are you gaining from this? You see the pain, you see the stress every year.
This all started Valentine's Day morning 2000. Aquila went to wake her children for school. Asha wasn't in bed. She and her book bag were gone. I think any parent can relate to maybe losing sight of your child for a few minutes and that panic that sets in just in that. Mm-hmm. Take me back, even those first few hours. Mm-hmm. What was that like?
Oh, goodness. I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off when I realized she wasn't in the house. She got to be across the road because my mother-in-law stayed across the road. And then when she wasn't there, she got to be at my sister-in-law's. Then when she wasn't there, then that's when the panic kicked in, okay?
So you assumed this would be just a short-term thing. She just walked off somewhere and you'd find her at a relative's or a neighbor's or a friend's house.
Mm-hmm. Or got scared after she left that, okay, now I need to go back home and I know I'm in trouble. Never would have imagined that 25 years later, no. Yeah. We've missed her whole life. Never would imagine that.
Left, up top! In those early hours, searches started. A community prayed, and detectives started investigating. But clues were just hard to come by. There were reports she was seen walking the highway near her home. She may have gotten into a car. It took months to find something tangible. Asha's backpack was discovered in a wooded area.
Yeah, when I first started covering this case, I thought, there might be some sort of an essay thing going on here. Because this case goes back forever. This has been a while. So there's been so many different takes on this case here over the years. Yeah, she's been missing for 25 years. So it's been going through its stages of suspicions, rumors, but right now, the more things keep moving along here, I just think this was just a horrific accident, and it was covered up for some strange reason. But I mean, even if they saw, like, say, just for instance, say they solved this case, right? And I'm just putting a hyper, whatever, my own spin on this. Say they do arrest the daughter, one of the daughters that was driving. She was 16 at the time. So what are they going to really get her for? What is it? Vehicular homicide. I don't even know if they have she was a minor at the time. So, I mean, what is going to be the charge? I mean, they could probably charge the father with, removal of a corpse or whatever. Hey, Timmy's Legacy, good to see you. So I don't know what they would really charge her for, because I don't know what is it, manslaughter, vehicular manslaughter. I don't know if there's even a statute of limitations on that. What I mean, it's a horrible crime. But what's going on with Heather? What's going on with Heather? You okay, Heather? You guys are all awesome.
Of Burke County. That's the thing, if that phone rings, you don't know what's going to be said on the other end.
No.
That's just got to gnaw at you.
Every time it rang, it was like, okay. It's like the whole house would just get quiet.
Even now, 25 years later, every time that phone rings, what pops into your head?
Yeah.
So this was done 7 days ago.
Or anytime y'all call, it's like, oh God, what's going on?
But then,
who was it last night on your chat that said something about maybe she thought it was time for school? Surgery is Tuesday? For what? You having surgery? Sonic Gal's awesome. She's always posting all of these. Yes, feel free to throw all your channels in the chat. You guys are all awesome. You guys have great channels. Definitely want to promote all of these great channels. Timmy's Legacy, Honeybee, Sonic Gal's amazing. Anna Lisette. That's right. Anna Lisette said that, I think. Tampering with evidence. Yep. But what is there a statute of limitations on tampering with evidence? I don't know. It's so weird. But I'm pretty sure at this point the family would just want some answers. I mean, I think that's really, Miss Persevere is awesome. She's a great channel. Paula Fitzhenry is amazing. Does Dirty Diana have a channel? Did I ask that last week? All right, so let's go back to this here.
things would go quiet for long stretches.
Oh, that's where our faith come in.
The good news with this case here is I think it's getting really close. I think my opinion on the texts here, I think law enforcement put those texts out there as kind of like bait to kind of get somebody to come forward. Let's hope it works.
Regardless of what the Cleveland County Sheriff Department of the FBI is doing, I don't have faith in them. I have faith in God, and I pray every day is that He's allowing them to do their job.
Compound.
I'm an idiot. There's nobody. I don't know. You asked, no channel.
The agony of all these years have been the.
It's called can't remember shit syndrome. That's what it's called.
Whispers and the
I mean, this poor kid. This is just such a horrible story. It just is. Either way, just uh, just a terrible, terrible tragedy. Really.
Suspicions that family was somehow involved.
Every time something going on, they want to blame my husband for it. And that's the part that makes you want to strangle people. And like I tell anybody, if I thought he had anything to do with our child missing, I'd have been in jail a long time ago. And he'd been dead.
Harold,
So is that how long they have to try the case? Is 3 years or? I'm not a lawyer, so I would know. I wouldn't know. Yes, it's very hard for these couples to. It's got to be. I don't even want to. I don't even want to. Go there. That's like tough. No answers, no nothing. The trick to this case, though, I think, was the car, when they pulled the car and took the car. Because it's one thing to have an eyewitness saying that there was some sort of a green older model vehicle. I think it was supposed to be what was it supposed to be? It was supposed to be some sort of a Lincoln or something like that, a green Lincoln, an older model. And then when they went to do the search warrant, they took that car in for evidence. So that's telling me that there's something about that car that they were suspicious of, and now they have the eyewitness statement, and then they have the car to corroborate that. I think that's important.
do you feel the side eyes, from people?
Like what people say, they got a right to say what you want to think. They got their own opinions. Just try not to, retaliate.
The investigation would pop back into the spotlight in September. A search warrant was executed at a property owned by a man named Roy Deadman. The property belonged to Roy Deadman. Do you know the family?
Okay, so I want to do this here. I want to continue reading this here. Well, thank you, Paula. Paula's amazing. Paula's just an amazing person. Can you pop a little Valium or Xanax before going in? That always helps. Smoke a doobie. Just ask anybody if they got a fatty. You should be fine. Well, I want you to let us know what happens, Heather. Good Lord. I didn't know you were going in for surgery. Nobody told me that. All right, hold on. I want to read this here. This is coming from Wikipedia, so thank you, Barbara. Miss Barbara's awesome too. Miss Barbara's she's putting out some great content too, for sure. We're always thinking about Miss Barbara in here, that's for sure. On February 13th, a Sunday, the children went to church at a relative's house and then returned home. I think this stuff is important too. At around 8 p.m. that night, both children went to bed. The other thing too is there was a power outage there. She might have not known what time it was. Almost an hour later, the power went out in the neighborhood after a nearby car accident. The power came back. Oh, so there you go. The power came back on at about 12:30 a.m. So, but I don't know. I don't think that was digital clocks back then. Were they digital clocks? So if the power went out, I don't know if the clock would have reset. It would have stayed at, I don't know. I'd have to figure that out. At the time, Harold checked on his children and saw both Asha and O'Brien sleeping in their beds. He checked again shortly after he went to bed at 2:30 a.m. So I wonder if that 2:30 a.m. is actually not 2:30 a.m. Because if the power went out, I don't know. I'd have to really think about that, what time it actually was. On February 14th, and again, saw them both. Shortly afterwards, O'Brien, then age 10, recalls hearing Asha's bed squeak. He did not further arouse himself, and he assumed she was merely changing positions in her sleep. Apparently, around this time, Asha got out of bed, taking a book bag she had previously packed with several sets of clothes and personal items, and left the house. This could be, the sets of clothes could have been changed for, school, like, gym or something. Between 3:15, she left the house between 3:45. All right, hold on a second. Read this right. taking a book bag she had previously packed with several sets of clothes and personal items and left the house, period. Between 3:45 and 4:15 a.m., a truck driver and a motorist saw her walking south along Highway 18. Did we do that yet? Is that a Highway 18 or 100? Highway 180. Wearing a long sleeve white t-shirt and white pants. Just north of its junction with Highway 180. So it is 18, Highway 18. Let's see if I can, I'll find out once we're watching the video here. Actually, I'm just going to, there we go. The motorist said that he turned his car around because he thought it was strange such a small child would be out by herself at that hour. And I know these roads, I'm telling you, you can't see anything. The motorist said that I guess I read that already. He circled 3 times and saw Degree run into the woods. Yeah, probably scared the shit out of her by the roadside and disappear. It was a rainy night, and the witness said that there was a storm raging when he saw her. I bet you it was really cold that night, too. What the hell? I mean, just so weird. We're pretty sure it was her because the descriptions they gave are consistent with what she was wearing. Giller awoke at 5:45 a.m. to get the children ready for school that morning. So I wonder if these times are right. Anyways, let's go back to this here. Hold on a second here. Let me go back to this here. I think, I think that's a great theory. Anna Lissette is wicked smart anyways. It could have been that, or it could have been, that's what I was trying to figure out by reading that. I thought she was supposed to go to somebody's house that night to stay over. And maybe, just maybe, I don't want to be blaming victim here. Maybe she decided to go anyways. She was probably told she couldn't go, but she wanted to go. She went anyways. And all right, let's replay this here. Hold on a second. Here we go.
Mm-mm. No clue who this was.
Never heard of him.
Well, maybe she tried sneaking. She snuck out of the house to go to the sleepover. Anyways.
To that day?
Things were collected, taken away, replaced with more rumors.
Didn't dawn on me, but it was people literally sitting on pickups with lawn chairs and they cell phones on this side of the road. It's just like, okay, people, stop.
Movement, but still no progress in the one question lingering for now.
Yeah, it's the reason why when I had my kids when they were smaller, they always slept upstairs. I wanted to be with my kids. I wanted to be the first line of defense and the last line of defense. You know, if they're somebody's gonna get into the house, they're gonna have to get by me. But if the kids are gonna get out of the house, they're gonna have to get by me too. So, not saying that I'm better than anybody else. I'm just saying that's the way I wanted it. Because it would have been great to be upstairs, but I never let that happen. Because I mean, kids sleepwalk. Kids do weird things. You never know. Sometimes kids will just get up and take off. So you just don't know. But all right.
25 years. Where is Asha?
You look at
This poor kid. It's just it sucks so bad. This whole case is every time I see this picture with her, the bear here, it's just annoying.
Where is Asha?
You look at her classmates that's grown up and that we're still part of their life. And then that's when you realize what you miss.
In front of the door.
The weddings. They're having children now. And you miss and you realize all of that. And that's when you realize, that's when I realized what I missed out on. But I thank God for the 9 years.
I mean, it's still possible. I still have, the way I try to do things is I try to come up with a theory, and then I try to debunk my own theory, and then I try to get onto another theory. I mean, it's possible. I got the SA thing now at like 20%. It's possible. But I'm pretty much I'm all the way up to like 70-75% that it was some sort of an accident, or I just don't know why she was on the road. That's the only, and I don't know why. The other thing I don't know is, let's just say that the 16-year-old was out driving around at 2:30 in the morning. What the hell was she doing out at 2:30 in the morning? It's just, I don't know. It is weird. There's weird things.
That we did get to have her. She's the first thing I think of.
Send some Vicodin. You can say I've had a bad side effects. Yes, I do sleep in front of the door.
When I get up in the morning, and the last thing I think of when I go to bed, we never forget. I will never forget as long as I draw breath.
This poor mother. This is so sad. This is just so awful. Oh my God. Just want to help as much as you possibly can. I've been following this case for, I don't know, at least 10 years probably. All right. But there was, in this case here, there was nothing. There was nothing for 8 years or so, I think. And then all of a sudden I think this was last September is when they really started to get moving on this case again. And I wonder, because apparently somebody started talking.
Their strength is incredible. You can find,
if you have any heart, right? If you're a human at all, right? If you're a human whatsoever, any type of emotion, whatever, even if this is an accident and you were told to cover this up, this is going to create so much drama in your brain. I would think that you just, it would never go away, and you just want to, I don't want to say get rid of the burden, but just, I mean, you would think that somebody would just crack, just at some point.
find all of our past reporting on WBTV.com. Right now, we have an interactive map that shows you all the locations relative to her disappearance. You can click through all of the clues and where investigators found them in this article on WBTV.com. All right.
Okay, so let's see if I can do this here. Property search. What's this here? This is this was the this is the one with the text messages, so I'll play this.
3 new search warrants in the ongoing investigation into the disappearance of Asha Degree.
You remember she went missing 25 years ago on Valentine's Day. Back in September, we told you how law
Okay, go ahead with this.
Was working to connect new details of the case.
WBTV's Jason Puckett has been digging through these new search warrants. Jason, what is in these new documents?
Yeah, these 3 new warrants were released here today at the Law Enforcement Center in Cleveland County. Now, they call for the seizure and search of cell phones belonging to members of the Dedman family. Now, you may remember that family was mentioned in warrants put out back in September. Their home also searched today. These warrants showing some text messages and communications between the family. In the fall of 2024, Cleveland County sheriffs carried out a series of search warrants on the home of Roy and Connie Dedman. Deputies seized evidence, including green vehicles they say matched eyewitness descriptions of the last car Asha Degree entered in 2000. The warrants at the time listed the Dedmans and their 3 daughters as persons of interest. The new warrants released Tuesday call for the seizure and search of phones belonging to Roy Dedman and his daughters Lizzie and Sarah. Now, Lizzie would have been 16 at the time of Degree's death. In the warrant, we see a text message from her to middle sister Sarah. It says, "The theory is I did it, accident, covered it up." Sarah replies, "No, why would it be you?" And another text from Sarah to Lizzie. Sarah says, "They think it's our shirt. It's not her shirt. Her mom said it wasn't hers." Sarah then adds, "I don't remember that shirt. I'm scared though. Dad is probably going to be a huge suspect." In the last text referenced in the warrant, Lizzie tells Sarah, I mean, I want to do what Dad says. Later, Sarah texts, you don't want something we do or say impact him, but we also can't be living like this either. The warrants also share testimony from a friend of the Deadmans who came forward after their home was searched last year. He told detectives that he was at a house party in the 2000s when he overheard a, quote, heavily intoxicated Lizzie say she had killed Asha Degree before being shushed by her sister Sarah. Now, I want to read for you one last section here of the warrant. This is from February 10th, 8 days ago. It says a detective here approached Lizzie Foster, asked her to take a polygraph test. She was asked whether she was concealing information, quote, and was found to be deceptive. Now, keep in mind, this warrant is basing information they've gathered so far. They are going to seize those phones of those family members, so we're expecting to see more coming out as this investigation continues. For now, though, here live in Cleveland County, Jason Puckett, WBTV, on your side.
That's bombshell information. Jason, thank you. Just last Friday marked 25 years of searching for Asha Degree. Over the course of that time, there have been several major developments in the case. You can find a full breakdown of every twist and turn on our website right now. Just go to WBTV.com.
Okay, so I'm trying to find this road here. That's me there. This is the one I wanted to. No, I don't want that one there. What was this one here? This is play that one there.
Newly released Cleveland County warrants reveal text messages and a possible admission of fault in connection with Asha Degree's disappearance. The Shelby girl was 9 when she disappeared in the year 2000. Queen City News reporter Caroline Boyer is here. And Caroline, new information here in these warrants. They could reveal a possible suspect.
Yeah, Brian, investigators have taken 3 phones belonging to Roy Deadman and 2 of his daughters. Deadman has been identified as a possible suspect and owns the property in Cleveland County. Deputies searched in September 2024. Some of the most interesting details to come out of these warrants are the text messages between the Deadman daughters in the days after that search. Roy Deadman and his wife Connie were first linked to the Asha Degree case last fall. Investigators searched their property in September and seized a green vehicle similar to the one an eyewitness claims they saw Asha Degree get pulled into the night she went missing. Now, new court documents show detectives believe 2 of the Deadman daughters could have been involved. These search warrants detailed days worth of phone calls and texts exchanged.
I do want to hold on a second. I want to go. I finally found this here again. When I do these things, I should just replay the stuff that I already did. So this is the road. I mean, I don't think this is exactly where. Let's see here. My cat's making weird noises. So this is North Carolina Route 18. Highway 18. So let's get rid of this here. Minimize. Thank you. All right. But picture this at night, right? You got all this tree growth on both sides of the highway here or road. I don't know how far up this is. This looks like it's above sea level here. But you can imagine on this road here at night, look at how straight it is. I mean, this road here is going to be really dark. You probably wouldn't be able to see very good. I'm just saying, I've been in this part of the country before thousands of times, and these roads at night, there's no street lights, there's no nothing, especially if it's raining. You know, it's not a clear night, there's no stars, no moon, no nothing. These roads are pretty dark. So I just wanted to show people that. So let's go back to here. And this is 19 hours incoming call from Roy Deadman. 13 hours communication for somewhere between 3:51 and 3:63 seconds. It's weird.
Exchange between the Deadman daughters and other family members. One of the daughters texted the other saying, "The theory is I did it. Accident. Covered it up." Less than half an hour later, "I feel so horrible. So horrible. I don't know what to do. I caused this.
Don't you think that, doesn't that sound like an admission right there? Isn't that, I feel so horrible, so horrible. I don't know what to do. I caused this. What? I mean, I don't want to me, that sounds, your cats are having a loud dream again. My cats are making really weird noise. My cat won't leave me the fucking alone over here. It's just, don't you think that sounds like an admission right there? It's pretty, I mean.
More than 2 weeks later, the sisters appear to be discussing cooperating with law enforcement. What's going to happen to me since I wouldn't talk to them? I'm afraid it's going to get worse.
Going to happen to me? I wish they wouldn't blurt this stuff out. What's going to happen to me since I wouldn't talk to them? So obviously the lawyer probably said don't say anything, which is probably good. I'm afraid it's going to get worse. I mean, I just don't know what they can do to her. I mean, she's a minor at the time, right? If it's just, I mean, covering up and concealing this will probably put her in more trouble for covering it up for so long. But I mean, she was a minor, so would they charge her? Would they charge her now for her being this old, or would they charge her for the date of the crime, which she was a minor? I mean, if she's a minor at the time, they're probably just going to slap her on the wrist and say, I don't know. It's just, I don't know what they could even charge her for.
Worse. Then, after a few messages back and forth, you don't want something we do or say impact him, referring to their dad. But we also can't be living like this either. The paperwork shows law enforcement approached one of the daughters multiple times since September with this information, and she's refused to talk with them until last week. That daughter took a polygraph test, and when asked whether
This was done February 19th, so a couple days ago. The polygraph test, I don't know if that would be even. It's a notch in the belt, though, if she was deceptive or whatever. But I mean, I'm pretty sure a good lawyer could just say she was under a lot of stress at the time of the polygraph test. You guys won't leave her alone and stuff like that. And she agreed to the polygraph test, whatever. I don't know. It's just
whether she was concealing information, she was found to be.
I honestly think they should just get rid of polygraph tests because you can't lose them in court, right? They're really not. I mean, depending on what side you are on with the polygraph tests, if you're on the side of law enforcement, on the side of the defense, basically, if you're on the side of the polygraph test and it's convenient, at that point, then you can say, yeah, well, but I mean, they're not admissible in court, so why even bother with them? I mean, they're not. It sounds like she's under distress. Absolutely, she sounds like. I mean, I'd go and probably fail too. I don't know. And it's not like people. I've heard cases where people are smart enough to just pass those tests anyways, because most people who have no empathy or whatever can pass those tests pretty good because they don't really give a shit. It's just, like, especially serial killers. They go in there like, I don't really care about anybody, so it's not like I'm going to get, So it's Shelby. This is the town.
Be deceptive. The documents show during that interview, she also said, quote, if my dad did it, he did it, but I had nothing to do with it.
What? If my dad did it, he did it, but I had nothing to do with it. This is, see, I don't know what this is. Was she driving her father home or something? Or maybe her father was driving and she was in the car? That's so weird.
There's also a person who came to law enforcement in September claiming he used to go to bars and house parties with the Dedmon girls in the 2000s and says he heard one of the daughters, while intoxicated, admit to killing Asha Degree. So the question everyone has now is, will there finally be an arrest in this case after more than 2 decades with very few answers? I talked with the FBI and Cleveland County deputies. They tell me they don't have any more information to release right now about the case.
I mean, I've heard of cases with polygraph tests where the guy goes in and he passes 100%, right? And then they have this other person I think I was just thinking, watching that the other night on some of these false confessions, falsely accused. One guy went in there, he failed the whole thing miserably, and he had nothing to do with the crime. And some people go in there and say everything can pass 100%, and they're guilty as shit. It doesn't. But I mean, if they're not going to be used in court, I guess it's one of those tools cops have to kind of like, suspect, and then maybe try to go get more evidence and stuff like that. But I'd have to look up at that. I'd have to look into that evidence because I don't know if they're even that relevant. You know what I mean?
Or their next steps. We are expecting more details to come out as detectives go through these phones. And I also reached out to the attorney for the Deadman family to see if he has any comment on this new information. We'll let you know when he responds. Brian.
Yes, sir.
And you'd never get them. If you're in this line of work here, well, not line of work, but line of true crime. I mean, it's not like you can have access to that shit. All right, so we're going to move on to something else here. I just wanted to play the Asha degree case here. I'll keep an eye on that. But I'm pretty sure they're close. I'm pretty sure that this case is almost, I don't want to say solved, but I'm pretty sure that it's getting there. They're closer now than they've ever been. All right, so we're going to do this here. And this is going to go, this next story here is going to go back to what I was talking about before with the Connecticut River Valley unalivings here. This is, which is strange. This came out this week too. This was done, let's see here. This was done 2 days ago. And this is the other case that I've been solving, not solving, but following right along with the Connecticut River Valley unaliving. This is the New Bedford Highway unaliving. These cases went on between, I'll pull it up, between I think 1988 and 1990. I could be wrong. But this was down in New Bedford, Massachusetts, along the highway and off ramps. And it's so strange because these cases here are very similar to the Connecticut River Valley unalivings. So let's play this here and I'll pull that up.
Real people. New England's Unsolved with Bob Ward.
The New Bedford Highway killing case is one of the biggest investigations in Massachusetts history. More than 35 years later, we still don't know the serial killer's identity. But as the brother of one of the victims told me, people are still talking and tips are still flowing.
Along the highways and off-ramps of the New Bedford area, a deadly secret is still tightly...
I guess what I'm saying is I wonder if this guy here that was doing the unalivings up on the Connecticut River Valley area moved. And the reason why he moved is because Jane Borowski survived. So he probably figured I got to get the hell out of there and then just move. Because I'll pull up a map to show you where both of these kind of areas are. Hey, Miranda, good to see you. Just something that I was thinking of with this whole, because this right after, like, I think the Connecticut River Valley unalivings ended in like 1988, 1987, somewhere around there. And it just so happens this guy started to pick up and started doing these things shortly after that.
Kept. It is along these lonely stretches of road that a serial killer plied his deadly trade in the late 1980s. 9 murdered women were recovered from this area. To this day, 2 remain missing. These are the dumping grounds of the New Bedford Highway killer, a killer who to this day remains unmasked. Did you ever think this case would go unsolved for this long?
No, I never.
Okay, so let's it's good to see Miranda Lee in the house. Hope you're doing okay. Miranda Lee is an amazing person. You guys are all awesome. All right, hold on a second. Let me want to play this. I want to do this here really quick. Okay, so this is the story about these guys here. New Bedford highway killer, span of crimes between 1988 and 1989, so 11 in about a year. New Bedford, Massachusetts. This guy's never been caught. New Bedford highway killer is an identified serial killer responsible for the deaths of at least 9 women and the disappearances of 2 additional women in New Bedford, Massachusetts between 1988 and 1989. The unaliver is also suspected to have assaulted numerous other women. All of the victims were known sex workers who had struggled with addiction. While the victims were taken from New Bedford, they were all found in different surrounding areas, including Dartmouth, Fremont, Westport, and Massachusetts Route 140. So the other person that these may be related to is Rex Heuermann. I'm going to pull up a map shortly here to the distances between the unalivings, but it's not unusual to have multiple SKers in the same area at the same time. I know of at least 4 or 5 different cases, especially out west, that's happened with. I think the Green River unaliver, there was another guy around at the same time, and I think the Charles would know probably more about this than I would. But I'm pretty sure that the Night Stalker, there was somebody around the same time doing the same kind of things. So here we go. Robert Lynn Rhodes, 29, was found on March 28th, 1989, along Massachusetts Route 140 in Freetown by a search dog. She was believed to have gone missing sometime in March of April 88. So she was missing about a year before she was found. So Rhodes had previously dated suspect Kenneth Pont, which she never, while she was never involved in SWing, she knew of many of the other victims and was friend with the victim, Mary Rose Santos. I don't know as much about the New Bedford unaliver than I do the other 2, but I'll read a couple more here. Rochelle Clifford DeParella, 28, of Falmouth, Massachusetts. So this is basically on the coast. Disappeared sometime during late April 88. So late April. So these 2 are pretty close. Her body was found on December 10th, 1988 in a gravel pit about 2 miles from Interstate I-95. By people riding ATVs. She was partially clothed and been, she had dated and stayed at the home of the suspect, Kenneth Pont, who was arrested for her unaliving. This is the only time charges were brought in the case. Rochelle had testified against another guy who had essayed her, but he is not suspected in the case. And then Deborah Lynn McConnell, 25, of Newport, Massachusetts, last seen sometime May 1988. So this is like all in the same time frame here. By her father at the funeral of her mother at a local cemetery. Unbelievable. She is believed to have been the 3rd victim. Her body was found December 1st, 1988, off Massachusetts Route 140, same town, Freetown, through a cadaver dog search. She was found unclothed, and then she was, that. So, all right, let's go back to this here. So basically, I'm saying there was 3 SKers in this general area within, 20 years or so. This has been the bane of my existence here for the past 10 years. I've been really trying to follow these. And I would not be surprised if Rex Heuermann had something to do with a couple of these.
Never did. Wayne Perry is the brother of Deborah DeMello. In November 1988, her body was found at the Reed Road exit off Route 195 in Dartmouth. It's believed Deborah vanished in July, 4 months before her remains were found.
So she went out to work one day and she just didn't come back.
The late New Bedford lawyer, Kenneth Pont, was the only person ever arrested in the case, but that charge was ultimately dropped. There have been other suspects, but no arrests.
I'm very, very surprised that this case has not been solved.
Maureen Boyle is the author of Shallow Graves, The Hunt for the New Bedford Highway Serial Killer. At the time of the killing spree, Maureen was a reporter for the New Bedford Standard Times. Her book is sparking new interest in the case.
Why do you think it is? Why do you think the New Bedford Highway killer has not been identified?
Because investigators were slow to start in the investigation, because they weren't able to identify early on that they had a serial killer in the city.
Until now, it's believed no one ever caught a glimpse of the killer. But through his Facebook page devoted to the case, Wayne Perry heard from a man with an intriguing story. The man said back in the summer of '88, he passed a van pulled over near Horseneck Beach in Westport.
So if you go, hold on a second. If you go, let me just stop this for a second. I just pulled up the map here. So if you go, here's, basically where all these took place, right in this area here. If you go by car, it's pretty far. It's almost 5 hours. But if you go by boat, or if you go by ferry here, it's very close. And I can see somebody doing that stuff here. Not saying it has anything to do with it. I'm just saying that this is a theory that I've been working on with this guy here, because I've been covering the List case for a long time too, and this is the reason why. Is these two cases here, the New Bedford unalivings here, and the Rex Heuermann thing. But there's just so many people that live here that could be anybody. But the MOs kind of match here a little bit. The victimology, but like I said, there could be numerous people around at the same time. You okay, Miss Barbara? All right, so let's go back to this here. Sorry, I keep stopping it, but hold on a second here. Take This is a classic right here. This is.
He said he saw two men struggling.
I don't claim to be a professional, bro. This great pubes. If anyone looks like an SK, Rex does. He's scary creep. Yeah. He's and the bad news with him is they won't release his DNA to other law enforcement agencies until he's found guilty of a crime. So that's bad news. But I've been saying about the Lisk, whoever is responsible for Lisk, and I'm pretty sure it's Rex Heuermann, but it's up to a jury to decide. But whoever that is, he's probably going to be the most prolific serial killer ever in New York State history, ever. I mean, I have him down for at least 20. That's just my count. I could be wrong.
Throw away a large object out of the van and into the tall grass.
He said it looked to him like it was a body wrapped up in some sort of material.
It is the same general area where victim Mary Rose Santos was later found in 1989. Wayne shared pictures of the suspects with the tipster, the person.
Did you hear that about that wrapped up? Hold on a second.
Horseneck Beach in Westport. He said he saw two men struggling to throw away a large object out of the van and into the tall grass.
He said it looked to him like it was a body wrapped up in some sort of material.
It is the same general
body wrapped up in some sort of strange material.
Area where victim Mary Rose Santos was later found in 1989. Wayne shared pictures of the suspects with the tipster, the person twice picked out the same face.
I believe the guy 100%.
The tipster later died in a house fire. Wayne passed the information along to the DA's office.
The DA was given all this information back in 2017. They've done nothing with it.
Maureen Boyle tells me since her book was published, she's also received tips that
she's passed along to authorities.
Do you think the highway killer will ever be identified?
Yes, at some point, highway killer will be identified.
Why do you feel so certain about that?
People cannot get away with murder. They just can't. And from what I know of the investigators in the cold case unit, they are very determined to bring justice to victims.
The Bristol County DA's office has said this case is still open and active, and their website urges people to contact the Mass State Police Cold Case Unit at 1-855-MA-SOLVE. For New England's Unsolved, I'm Bob Ward.
All right, so let's see here. That's where am I? All right, so that's I want to go into a little bit of this here. Hold on a second. What is this? This is yeah, we're not going to do that again. Hold on a second here. Let me stop sharing this here. I want to go into a little bit of the Brian Kohlberger stuff. Hold on a second. So they basically threw out all of this guy's motion
rooted
here.
in.
So I'm going to start this here. Let's do this here. I'm not going to play all of this here because they basically just turned down everything that he wanted to. Actually, let's play Vinny first. This was a day ago.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are simply that, opinions. All are presumed innocent until proven otherwise in a court of law. Sensitive topics are discussed. Discretion is advised.
I'm Vinny Politan. The subject of my investigation is the murder of 4 college students in Idaho. It was a murder mystery that captivated the nation and is now the highest profile trial on the Court TV docket. And now new controversy surrounding DNA evidence. Here's the story. Ethan, Xana, Maddie, and Kaylee were 4 friends living together in an off-campus house at the University of Idaho. They worked hard and were all flourishing as students and having the times of their lives. They were popular, and their house was known as a gathering spot for fellow students. All of that tragically changed in the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022. Those 4 students were stabbed to death inside their home. The brutal crime shook the community and touched the nation, setting off an intense manhunt for a killer. Students were afraid to be alone on campus. Some of them never came back. Investigators from the Moscow Police Department joined forces with the Idaho State Police and the FBI, following every lead, every tip, and every piece of evidence. That investigation took them across the country to Pennsylvania and led them to this man, a grad student at a neighboring university in Pullman, Washington. This accused mass killer has denied the allegations and claims to have an alibi. And now, new controversy in the case involving DNA samples from the scene. What does this evidence reveal? This is a circumstantial case. Make no mistake, there's no direct evidence. There's no confession, there's no admission. There's no eyewitness who actually saw and can identify the killer, did not witness the killings. There is no videotape of the killings. It's going to be circumstantial evidence. So all of it has to be weighed by the jury. That's the bottom line in this case. So let's talk about some of that evidence. The suspect's attorney was speaking about evidence. We know this is a DNA-driven case. And there's some DNA that we haven't really spoken about in the course of our coverage of this case, and it came up in court. Take a listen to Ann Taylor, the attorney representing the accused killer.
What other explanation is there?
The magistrate wasn't given a chance to ask that. She wasn't given a chance to ask that when she wasn't told about unknown male B, blood on the handrail. She wasn't given a chance to ask about that when she wasn't told about unknown male D, blood on a glove right outside the residence. She wasn't given a chance to ask any of those questions.
Unknown male B, unknown male D, DNA found in 2 different spots. Male DNA found in 2 different spots. Brings us to the first question in our investigation. Where was the unknown DNA found? Where specifically, and what's the significance of where the DNA is found? It's an important question. Joining me to help us through all this, he is the news director at EastIdahoNews.com. You recognize him. He's been covering this case and everything that happens out there. Nate Eaton is with us, and former homicide detective and host of the very popular The Interview Room with Chris McDonough. Of course, it's Chris McDonough. Great to see you.
Greg calls him Chris McDummy. You guys are all awesome. I really appreciate you guys sticking around for the beginning of this horrible live here, but I just wanted to get that footage of the place where they were out searching the other day, a couple months ago. We'll follow a little of this, and I want to go on to the missing kid. What's his name? Hayden.
Both of you. All right. So, Nate, we're talking about.
GH calls this guy Chris McDummy. That's when you hear Gray say Chris McDummy, this is him. This is the guy.
DNA. Let's start first with the handrail. This is a handrail inside the home. We have some images here from Realtor.com, but to me, that is extremely significant in trying to figure out which handrail, because this is a 3-story house.
Yeah, it's a 3-story house, and the students were murdered on the 2nd and 3rd stories of the home. So you would have to, one would imagine, if you're, killing these students, you'd have to use a handrail to.
Thank you guys very much. I appreciate that. This is funny. We would walk on hot shards of glass. It might not be necessary, but thanks, bro. Oh, I just figured out who DD is. Heather Brown keeps saying DD. They haven't said yet. I think she's referring to Dirty Diana here. I think that's DD. See, I catch on to it slowly.
To try to get down or up. And remember, it's also the dark, Vinny. So it's dark inside the house. After this brutal crime is committed, it would be very possible, and it sounds like the police scrubbed everywhere for any sign of DNA, and they did find it on a handrail. Which handrail that was, they haven't said yet. Whether it was from the 3rd floor to the 2nd or the 2nd to the 1st, we don't know. But that is a significant place to find that DNA.
Yeah, Chris, I think if it's 2nd to the 3rd, to me, that would be.
I love you guys too. I really look forward to coming on every Saturday night with you guys. Believe me, I could have just passed on tonight, but I wanted to get back here in time to go on the live tonight and make sure I got that stuff out to you guys. Is Southern Gal still here? You guys are all awesome. I wouldn't be doing this stuff without you. I really appreciate every person in the chat. You guys are great. Period.
The most problematic potentially for prosecutors in this case, because
I will say one thing about this place, in this case here. 2 things I'm going to say about this case. This is a weird ass house. It's just a weird. It almost looks like this is one of those fun houses, like you'd see in like a circus, or like this house is. I don't think I've ever seen a house built quite like this before. Second thing I'll say about this case, when it comes to the witness, right? The witness that saw whoever she saw walking towards the door, where's the knife, right? She describes everything about this guy. And if this guy here forgot a sheath in a bedroom, where's the knife? Is he holding the knife? Is it in his pants? I mean, you would have thought. I don't know. Those are just the two things that I just don't understand about this case here, but just thought I'd share that.
Two of the girls, Maddie Cayley, are murdered on that third floor. You got to leave the third floor. You get back to the second floor because that's where.
Charlotte's here. There's Southern Girl. Hey, Charlotte, how are you? Good to see you. Geez, I've been worried about you. I haven't seen you for a while. But I'm glad Miss Charlotte's here. She's amazing. She's an amazing person. Hope you're okay, Miss Charlotte. We missed you for sure. God, it's about to get some sort of a army over there looking for you. It's always good to see Miss Charlotte in the house. She's great. She's amazing.
He exited and also took the lives of two more people. So if it is in fact that handrail, because I don't know if the suspect ever went down to that first floor. So if it's the handrail from second to third floor, extremely significant.
Southern Gal too. I mean, Southern Gal is such an amazing person. She does amazing work, especially on the missing and the cases that nobody really follows. She's doing great work. She's making great strides and doing the stuff that nobody else wants to do, and talk about some of the cases that don't get a lot of publicity and all of that stuff. It's just it's great. It's stuff you want to promote, and I'll promote her as much as I possibly can. She's doing amazing work. She's an amazing person. Love having her here. She does help out in the chat a lot by putting everybody's great channels in the chat, and I'd be lost without her. So thanks, Southern Gal.
Significant, I think.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you, Vinny. And the other question then it has to come into play is what type of blood is this? Is it transfer? Is it cast off? So there's a whole other set of variances that would come into play.
You're going to England? Heather Brown's going to England? Get the tea ready? Do they still drink tea in England? Oh, you're welcome. Southern Gal's amazing. She's just awesome.
I also.
So, Nate, as we try to recall the evidence in this case, there's no. We believe that he was dressed in all black, potentially wearing gloves, but if it's unknown male DNA, it wouldn't be any of the victims in the house. The blood would have to be from someone outside of that house, right? Because inside the home, it's women that are living there, young women that are living there, and of course, Ethan would spend time there with Xana.
Right, and we don't even know when the blood was left there. I mean, it's possible that it could have been left there before those students were killed. We don't know the amount of blood that was found on the handrail, but we do know for sure that the prosecutor has said they didn't send that blood into the CODIS network, which is the FBI network where they test things. They haven't explained yet why they did not do that. Of course, this is going to be a big issue that the defense raises and already is raising about, why wasn't that tested and who is that unidentified male? But you're right, we don't know the amount on the handrail and we don't know exactly who it belongs to. Could it have been a friend who was visiting a few nights before who, maybe got a bloody nose or, cut their hand while they were cooking? I mean, you could imagine any sort of circumstance where someone might have bled, it got on the rail, and it could potentially have nothing to do with the crime, or it could tie directly to what we're talking about.
Now, Chris McDonough, let's talk about a glove. Because you found a glove there, right? You were there a few days after all of this and spotted this glove, which was on the property of the home. I think we have another image where you can kind of circle it or an arrow so we can see where it is. On the other side of the crime scene tape, tell us the story behind the glove that you found.
Yeah, so that was actually Thanksgiving Day, Vinny, and I was standing, as you can see, on the other side of the barrier tape there, and I looked behind the trash can, and there's that glove sitting right there in that debris. The interesting thing about it is I went back, also looked at some of the earlier news reports, a few days after the crime had occurred. And you can't tell for sure, but there is some footage that appears to show that glove also in that same position. And what I did is I called the on-scene officer over, pointed it out to him, and they subsequently collected it.
Now, when you looked at that glove, and obviously crime scene collected it, but from where you were you able to tell if there was any blood or anything on that glove?
No, unfortunately, you couldn't tell from where I was standing. I couldn't see anything.
Let me ask you, Nate Eaton, do we know if it's this glove that Chris McDonough found or if there's a second glove involved here?
We don't know. They haven't specified which glove it is. Very well could be that glove, could be another glove. It was wintertime when these students were killed. It was quite cold. So we don't know exactly which glove it was or the specific location of where that glove was found.
Now, so Chris, just to give a little more perspective on where the glove that you spotted was found, how would you describe that area relative to the house and relative to how you would get in and out of the house?
So if the theory is that the suspect may have been parked out in front of the house, then if the suspect had come out of that house, it's about 30 feet from the front door going towards the street. And at the time the trash cans were out, so it would be in the direction of travel if that was the theory of where.
Okay, so Barb is saying, hold on a second. Are they talking both at the same time, or is it the way? I think it's could be maybe the internet. Is my sound still good or bad? I changed the server because my server wasn't acting right earlier. It could have been because I was trying to upload videos that I took tonight, though. Let me know what's going on, Barb, so that maybe I can fix it on my end, too. Sorry, I didn't see that. Thank you, Heather.
Subject would have been coming from. But again, like Nate said, I don't know if that is the glove that's in reference here, but it certainly did not stick into the environment itself. It stuck out pretty clearly to me as a former homicide guy.
And
okay, so just to let everybody know, it is Idaho, right? Moscow, Idaho, and if you notice really closely here, it's pretty cold. So there's going to be gloves probably all over the place. So just saying.
Obviously, there's snow on the ground, and I'm trying to remember, Nate. Do we know when it snowed? I know it snows all the time in Idaho that time of year, but do we have any idea of when it snowed and whether this would be consistent with?
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. Thank you, Southern Gal.
Having been left there at the time of the murder.
I mean, this is a college town, right? This is a college hangout. There's going to be a boatload of freaking DNA here in this house. There just is. It's just
I don't recall the specific weather that night, Vinny, or the next few days. I do know, though, that this was very fresh video that you're showing, that glove, that Chris took the photo of, and there was a bit of snow there. So it wasn't heavy snow. It's not like you had 1 or 2 feet of snow, which is sometimes possible at this time.
okay. Good. Thank you, Barbara. I didn't see a comment in time. I apologize, but I hope it sounds better now.
Time of year. So it looks like, that's just a quarter of an inch of that. But when that snow fell on top of the glove, I don't recall the specific weather forecast.
All right, Nate and Chris are going to help us out throughout the program. Coming up next, how will the...
Okay, so I just wanted to play a portion of that. That's what they've been debating the last, a couple of days anyways in that. So we'll get out of this here. I do want to play a little bit of this. This is the missing person case of the week here. I want to play this. It's never you, Barbara. Let's see here. Okay, so this is the missing case of the week. And sorry, this is going to be Nancy Grace again. This is the case of boy 4 vanishes 5 years ago without family realizing. Where's Hayden? And I'll pull up some information on this here. Recent reports of a missing child may have Muncie, Indiana residents asking, how does a little boy disappear without anyone realizing for nearly 5 years? Hayden Manis, now just a few months from his 10th birthday, was last seen in early 2020. Nancy Grace and an all-star panel investigate the latest on today's crime stories. Here we go. So I'll pull this up here, and we'll get going.
A little boy, just 4, vanishes 5 years ago without family realizing he's gone. Tonight, where's Hayden? Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. Thank you for being with us.
Where is 4-year-old Hayden Manis from Indiana? The young child reportedly last seen at a family Christmas gathering in 2019. He's not been seen since.
Mystery swirling around a little boy just 4 years old at the time he was last seen alive. How is it that family doesn't realize he's missing for 5 years? Police now playing catch up in a missing child case. Let it sink in. 4-year-old Hayden was last seen at a Christmas gathering 5 years ago. Any and all leads are probably cold by now. How can we find Hayden? Let's see pictures of Hayden right now. This is all coming out of Muncie, Indiana. This 4-year-old little boy last seen 5 years ago. Hayden Ian Lee Manis. Joining me, an all-star panel to make sense of what we are hearing tonight. That is from the Awareness Inc. on Facebook, everybody. If you want to find out more about Hayden and how you can help find him, it's Hayden Manis, age 4, Indiana. First of all, take a listen to this.
Recent reports of a missing child have many Muncie, Indiana residents asking, how does a little boy disappear without anyone realizing for nearly 5 years? Hayden Manis, now just a few months from his 10th birthday, was last seen in early 2020. The little boy believed to be living with his father, Dustin Manis, but a chance run-in between two relatives reveals Manis has told several conflicting stories about Hayden's whereabouts.
Joining me an all-star panel, but first I want to
I definitely am glad to see Charlotte here. We're glad that you're here on today's live for sure. Hopefully everybody over here is fine. Yep. This is a very strange case here. Very, very strange.
Go to Brian Fitzgibbons is joining us. He is the Director of Operations for USPA Nationwide Security. He leads a team.
Let's do a little bit of this here. I mean, every missing case is strange, but some are stranger than others, I think. So this is coming from, maybe not. Hold on a second. Close that. This is coming from the New York Post. The hunt is on for a 9-year-old Indiana boy after his family only recently realized that he's actually been missing for more than 5 years. How does that happen? Relatives, including his grandparents and aunts, told WTHR that they assumed that the youngster was with his dad, who was awarded custody despite their fierce objections over his alarming history of abusing drugs. Here we go again. And I was going to play that tonight, too, because the state of New Hampshire is really giving Montgomery a terrible time with her civil case. We'll get into that probably next week. But the whole system, in my opinion, the entire system DCYF, depending on what you call it, needs to be completely overhauled. This is ridiculous. But they finally reported him missing later last year, having realized none of them had seen him since Christmas Eve when he was just 4. They fear he might have been unalived by his dad, who died of a drug overdose in November, soon after he was quizzed about his missing son. All right, let's see here. Hold on a second. So there's Hayden there. I believe this is the dad. Let's see here. It haunts me every day. When Hayden was still a baby, his parents lost custody of him over drug-related arrests. So they did take them away from the parents, and he went to live with his grandfather, Gary Manis, whom he called Papa. What a cute kid. Just born into the wrong people. Hayden's father, Dustin Manis, eventually finished a court-ordered probation and drug retreatment and was given custody to his son, despite his grandfather's fierce objections. It's just they don't get it. They just don't understand. He's a drug addict, Gary Menace said about his trouble. This is going to be disturbing for sure. I told them, I begged them not to give him back. It wasn't my choice. It wouldn't even let me speak in the court. This is just, this is the way the system is, man. It's just a nightmare. It's just nobody gives a shit. And it's just sad. It's just horribly sad. So I'm going to stop reading that. So let's go back to this here. Sorry. These cases here just it's just annoying. Just these people are so awful.
Of highly trained investigators.
And the thing is that they claim that they just don't have anything really to do with it when they're called out on the carpet. You know, it's just something needs to change on this shit for sure. All right.
Investigators specializing in finding missing people at USPAsecurity.com. Brian, in a nutshell, this trail is so cold, but Crime Stories is not giving up on trying to find out where is Hayden. Why does every hour, the minutes actually matter? And now we're looking at 5 years before the family realizes he's missing. I mean,
so often, Nancy, we talk about 48 hours being a long time in a missing child case. In this case, we're dealing with 5 years. So we're constructing a new timeline now. As this show airs and gets national attention, a new timeline is going to begin of when people connected to this case begin talking about Hayden again.
Joining me, in addition to Brian Fitzgibbons, an incredible panel.
Look at this kid. Like, why? Like, what is going on here? This is insane.
Joining us tonight, special guest Eric Hoffman. He is currently a prosecuting attorney in the 46th Judicial Circuit, Indiana, and the Delaware County Prosecutor's Office. He has been investigating this case.
No, honestly, this is the reason why I'm doing stuff like this here, because it's just, I mean, who's gonna, so this is, and I'm telling you right now, I blame a lot on, peers, states. They have no idea how this is supposed to be done. This is a bad thing here.
For so long, and because you're in the middle of an ongoing.
Okay, so this guy gets treatment for drug abuse, and he's off of drugs for 2 days. So let's give the child back to him really quickly. I mean, it doesn't work like that. It just doesn't work like that.
Investigation. I understand that your hands are somewhat tied in everything you can say, but let me ask you a few general questions, Eric Hoffman. As Fitzgibbons just told us, literally, and it's hard to understand unless you're in the middle of it, every minute counts when a child goes missing. Just think about if a child's in a car, for instance, 60 mph, 60 miles an hour. That child is getting further and further and further away by the minute. Have you ever seen a case before this one where the family didn't realize the child was missing for 5 years?
No, I haven't, Nancy. And I think as you said, each passing minute, particularly 4 years, makes the case and the investigation exponentially more difficult.
If you know or think you know anything about the disappearance of Hayden, please dial Delaware County Sheriff's Department 765-747-7885. Now, hold on. Let's back it up just a moment. Let's back it up. Joining me right now, crime and justice reporter from the Star Press, Douglas Walker, joining us out of Muncie. Douglas, thank you for being with us. This case has been consuming you. Why?
Just the very odd circumstances that there would be such an end.
We need to sneak into the hospital, and remember we used to do that when we were kids, sneak into the hospital. Because years and years ago, when you used to go to the hospital, kids weren't allowed to go up to the room sometimes. So we used to sneak in and get past the front desk to go see people. But we're definitely going to hopefully get you a card, Heather Brown. We're all with you when you go in there, so don't worry. We're all going to be there. Never been so good.
Incredible delay in making police aware of the fact that this child is missing. That it just appears to have baffled people as to how that could even possibly happen.
You know, Douglas, by the way, guys, you're seeing a little graduation photo. It must have been from pre-K, pre-K, because he went missing at age 4. That is from Hayden Manis's family to news outlets. Douglas, I tend to, as a crime victim, project experiences that I had or crime victims that I represented, practicing law for 13 years, most of it in inner city Atlanta, prosecuting felonies. But let me tell you, Douglas, not long after the twins were born, they were about 19 months. They just started walking. Okay. And we were in one of those giant superstores, Babies R Us, I think it was. And some mom had, guilted me out at the community pool because she made her own organic sunscreen. So I was trying to find organic suntan lotion, right? And had the twins with me. I was alone with them. And
I'm telling you, man, having children is a full-time job. There's no such thing as, parenting is an everyday, every second. Where'd Miranda go? Is Miranda still here? Miranda's good with the cards. And I know Jenny 8675309 is good too. We're all with you, Heather. Every one of us. We adore you. We all we'll be right here waiting for you for sure.
I was on the very bottom shelf, and it went from floor all the way to the ceiling practically. And I stood up and I said, well, twins, I don't see anything like that here. And there was Lucy, my little girl, and no John David.
Miranda got high. Good. She deserves it. Yes, we love you too, Heather. You're going to be fine. If not, I'm going to have to come down there. You don't want that to happen.
I looked around for him. I couldn't find him. I picked Lucy up like a football and started running. I can still hear my tennis shoes on that linoleum floor and screaming, lock the doors. My baby is missing. Screaming, help me. I didn't wait 5 years to say, John David's missing. I found him. He was playing a game. So I didn't fuss at him. I didn't want to traumatize him. I was traumatized, but 5 years? When did you first learn about this case?
You never stop parenting, ever. The only time you stop parenting is when you die. That's it. It's a full-time job. It never goes away. Even when your kids get older. It is what it is.
Douglas?
The family of the missing boy initially took it to an Indianapolis television station.
So last seen 1/11/2020. That's in the middle of winter. So I'm just going to read a little bit more of this. Hold on a second. Hayden's father, Dustin Manis, eventually finished his court-ordered probation and drug screening, and it was given back. So I read that already. At least every month I'd message him, "Hey, we're doing this, doing that. Can you?" His great aunt, Barbara Phillips, said, "We wanted him to know we wanted them there. We wanted to be part of their lives," said another great aunt. We'd say, "Can you and Hayden come over and have dinner with us?" And he would respond with, "We'll try. I'll try. Everything's fine. We're okay. Hayden's fine." We try to make it, but we'd never get to see him. He'd never come to anything. This is so sad. Text messages revealed Dustin moved out of town in 2021, and he soon stopped answering messages completely, making his family believe he was too busy or no longer wanted them to visit. After years without contact, his family realized something was wrong. Last year, when Hayden's two great-grandmothers ran into each other at a grocery store, and one mentioned that Dustin had told her years earlier he lost custody of Hayden again. So he's lying. She went straight home and called grandfather Gary and said something is off, something's not right. Yep, they were onto something for sure. All right, so let's go back to this here.
It's my understanding that perhaps sheriff's deputies would have preferred waiting to make things public, but that didn't happen.
Wait, who wanted to wait to make it public?
The sheriff's department, which is the primary investigator here, had not made an announcement concerning this. They found out that the boy was missing in September and were investigating, and apparently thought it would be in their best interest to not make an announcement as they attempted to talk to people somewhat quietly because so much time had passed. So at any rate, I found out.
See, that is, I guess, everything that I know about
It's hard being a mom, period. Moms, there's something special about moms, man. Moms are, they're gold, literally. I'd like to think I do as much as mom does, but there's no way. There's just nothing. That just doesn't happen. All I do is fuck things up. That's my life. I try really hard, but I just screw things up for everybody. But I try. I try really hard. I wake up every day just to screw things up.
Finding missing people. I don't understand that at all. Eric Hoffman, hypothetically speaking, why would LE law enforcement want to wait to?
If people are coming to me for answers in this house, something has gone wrong. Like everybody, they don't want that to happen. Nobody's coming to me for answers because I'm not going to have any.
Make public a missing child.
I think
in my house, I'm literally the lowest person on a totem pole. I'm way below the cats, way below the dogs, and it just goes up from there. And then the boss, we all know who the boss is. She is at the very top.
The investigation had just begun. It was September 5th of 2024. The sheriff's department brought me in on the case and we discussed it, and interviews were ongoing. I think the information was coming in fast at that point. Certain things.
If you ever watch Gilligan's Island, I'm Gilligan. That's who I am. I'm just there to screw things up.
Had to be checked. Certain people's credibility had to be corroborated before we were ready to go public and say this child is missing.
Guys, I just want you to know these photos are provided by The Independent, provided to The Independent by Gary.
I usually get sent to my room a lot. Like, just get out of here. Go to your room. Okay, sure. See you later.
Gary Manis. Okay, Eric Hoffman, I know that there must be something you're not able to disclose. because when a child is missing and there's a chance to recover the child, that is a PR blitz to try to find the child. Now, that's according to my experience and my great mentor, Mark Class, whose daughter Polly went missing, and he actually schools parents about what to do if their child goes missing. And the number one thing is get it out on the media. But you're telling me LA law enforcement wanted to weigh witnesses' credibility. I'm trying to read between the lines what that could possibly mean about not alerting everyone that the child was missing. And I know your record, you have a stellar record. So I know you have a reason for going along with this. Can you share that reason? Or is it confidential?
I can't get into too much of the specifics, but I think I would absolutely agree with you. 4 years ago, that would be the first thing that we would want to do is get Hayden's picture on the TV and get his story out there so people could call in. But again,
he'd be 9 years old today, Muncie, Indiana.
We're talking about a 4-year delay before law enforcement knows anything about it. You have to consider when in this.
Do you think it's possible that this kid was sold? Daddies are so underrated. You have no idea the level of presence gives. Daddies are wonderful too. My girls adore that. I mean, I agree with that. But like when you're having a conversation and everybody's screaming at each other in the house and you kind of, decide you're going to butt in and give your 2 cents and everybody turns around and tells you to shut the hell up. That's what I get. Nobody asked you.
Investigation, there's really 2 outcomes, or there's really 2 possibilities at this point. Is Hayden alive? Is Hayden dead? And so in in those 2 different possibilities, the investigation can go.
I'm literally surrounded by girls, so it's just I don't have any say in anything at all.
Those ways.
This photo is provided to The Independent by Gary Manis. You're seeing shots of then 4-year-old Hayden. To Douglas Walker joining us, crime and justice reporter of the Star Press. Douglas, I just don't understand how the extended family, such as grandparents, aunts, and uncles, didn't notice. Hey, we haven't seen him. We haven't seen a picture of him. He's not on a Christmas card. He's not at a little preschool graduation. We've got nothing. What, they didn't notice?
They have described an estrangement with the boy's father, Dustin Manis, describing various situations where they invited him to bring Hayden to their homes at family gatherings, holiday gatherings, things of this nature, and that he would indicate, sure, that will happen, and then they just simply didn't.
I don't know. I think it's possible he might have been. I don't know. It's really weird. And if he's in the state hands, who knows? That's what I mean when it comes to the states and stuff like that. They I don't know. It's possible. I don't know what kind of percentage I'd give on it, but it's possible that he might have. Yeah, this is awful. This case is terrible. It's possible that he might have been sold, or I mean, hear about those things all the time where people sell their children. It's weird, I would never do that myself, but you hear cases like that, especially years ago. So it's possible. And if, like I said, if he's in with the state, you'd never know it because they're as backwards as anybody else. So, I mean, how they let this kid go to the father in the first place is ridiculous. So,
and show up, and as such, the actual family members haven't seen him for 5 years. I was told that investigators have determined someone being aware of Hayden's presence as recently.
Sorry to hear that, Barb. This case is terrible.
As the fall of 2020. So 4.5 years of
You're
nothing.
seeing a shot right now of Hayden, and this is the dad.
I have no respect. I have literally no respect for anybody that abuses women in any shape or form, any way. Anybody that harms children, I just don't. I don't think that those people are very good people at all. I just don't.
We're talking about. This is his bio father, and these pictures are provided to news outlets.
I was listening to a case a few weeks ago where this was back. I think this was back in the 40s, 1940s, where the mom basically went to work, and one of her friends basically stole her children, and basically took the children away from her, and just went on a run with them for years and years. When was this kid? This was it might have been the 40s or 50s. And then she ended up selling the kids. She ended up selling the two kids. The mom tried her damnedest to try to find out where her kids were. She didn't get any answers. So the person that took them ended up selling the children to two different people, and it was this whole big thing. And they didn't have any ID. They had nothing. So when the kids grew up, the two girls grew up, they went through hell just trying to find out who the hell they were. And they had a big thing on it. They had, I think this was on, it might have been on 48 Hours, CBS, might have been on one of them, Dateline or something like that. But they ended up, somebody, I think it was, what's that lawyer's name, that female lawyer's name? She got in touch with one of the girls and took her case over, and they put out a thing on Facebook or something like that, or on TV or something like that. And one of the mother, the actual mother, ended up watching the show, and they ended up reuniting somehow. But it does happen. I'm not saying it happens a lot, but you never know. This guy could have, maybe been involved in drugs again, and hey, I'll give you $40 for the child, and you never know.
It's by Hayden Manis's family. Look at this little boy. Do you believe you have seen him? We are hearing from Douglas Walker from the Star Press. There may have been a sighting as recently as fall 2020. That makes the time period less, right? The time he's been missing. And you can extrapolate from that sighting that even though he may not be with his bio parents, that he is alive somewhere. Now, this is my understanding. Let me go straight out to Dr. Cheryl Errett. She is a licensed clinical forensic psychologist specializing in trauma recovery. You can find her at askdrcheryl.com. Dr. Errett, thank you for being with us. It's my understanding, and everybody on the panel, correct me if I've got this wrong, that the son had a falling out with his father, Hayden's grandfather. Okay. They had a falling out. Of course, the son stomps out with Hayden. And that is why the family kind of chalked it off.
Back in the day, it was all about the homes. People would just leave their kids off at some sort of a orphanage and take off, and nobody would ever find them again.
That the son's not bringing Hayden around. That's why they're not seeing him. When families split and they have a problem, there are no more happy Thanksgivings and Christmases together. And very often that's the only time extended family sees the child, the grandchild.
That's right, Nancy. And when we unpack this estrangement, I think we have to think about it with the father's addiction in mind. Because one of the things we know when people have active addictions to things like meth, cocaine, heroin, These are things that can really interfere with somebody being able to be a safe parent. But one of the other things we see is incredible denial. Denial that there's a problem. A lot of times the family wants to believe the best of the person who has the active addiction. And some of what we're hearing is that the estrangement had something to do with him feeling like they were judging him about his addiction. They wanted to take Hayden away. But the family knew about the addiction problems that Dustin was having. And what you want, especially when someone has had these problems, you want supervision. You want to know not just that they did the minimum in terms of probation or being able to get a child back, but you want to know, are they going to meetings? Can you see them? I mean, most single parents, even without this, really welcome extended, loving, extended family help. It's a lot to have a little kid as a single parent, and one would really expect that.
And to be honest with you, I don't really know what the answer is. That's what your mom did. You didn't even know the people. That's awful. That's why I'm telling you, right around the holidays. Holidays aren't the greatest for some people. Often the workhouses had to deal with the body snatchers. Infant bodies were required. The medicine and money was made, unfortunately. Yep. My grandparents raised me. My grandpa was such a fine, honest, hardworking man, devoted for his wife and kids. That shows you someone with a perfect male role can still have a relationship. Yep, absolutely. It's just some people have it a lot harder than other people. It's just I'll never understand it, but what works, whatever works, right, is important. That's the important thing. If it works, it's fine. These are the cases here, though, that I don't think work. And I'm not trying to berate the father here. I'm just saying you just don't give a child back to somebody that's been off of meth for a couple of days and expect that to change. I mean, you just gotta. I don't know what the answer is. I just don't. But I would have left them with the grandparents. It's my opinion.
If he were really doing what he said he was doing, he would want to have them around, even if there was a falling out.
I'm telling you, you're better off being a single mom these days here. I know it's difficult, but dating sucks. Dating is, I wouldn't date. If I wouldn't date at all, ever. I would rather bash my head against the wall. It's not going to happen. All right, I do want to go. One more thing I want to play here. I'm going to get out of that for now. I do want to play one more thing. Just give me a second here. I'm going to try to pull it up. What was I going to play? This one here. Let's play this one here. Because it's basically the same kind of so extremely this is going to be very disturbing here. I think this is this is going to be disturbing. So if you don't want to watch this, that's fine. This happened about 16 hours ago. Ball Springs police shared more information about the investigation into a 19-year-old autistic girl who was found unalived on Valentine's Day. The girl's mother, Crystal Canales, was arrested in connection with her death. And this is the press conference here. This is the details into that. This is coming out of Texas. So let me hold on a second. I'm going to stop sharing this. Not a very good wingman. No, not at all. All right, so here's this here. This is just really disturbing. So if you don't want to see this, that's fine. But I wanted to play this here because I saw this pop up. So
my name is Pedro Gonzalez.
Whoops, what happened?
Today we're here to discuss an incident that occurred on February 14th in the city of Box Springs. On February 14th, about 2:33 p.m., the Box Springs Communication Division received a 911 call in reference to a female who was unresponsive and not breathing. The caller who called in was her mother.
Paula's leaving. Have a good night, Paula. I'm almost out of here too. I'm going to play the rest of this and then get out of here. Hope you have a great week, Paula. Thank you for all the information and stuff. You're great. Paula's awesome. She's got a great channel. We love Paula. Paula's amazing. Hope you have a good week. Stay safe.
The mother's name is Crystal Canales. And so when the fire department and the paramedics showed up, they stated that it was going to be a CPR in progress, which means that they start administering CPR on the victim. Unfortunately, because of the position and the condition that the victim was, they did not start on the CPR and call the Balch Springs.
Yes, Barbara is an amazing person. She's a trooper. We love Barbara, 100% here. But we love Charlotte too. Charlotte's amazing.
Police department. We responded on Horseshoe and observed the victim in a room, curled up, and she was deceased. We know that she was deceased minimally 4 hours because of the rigor mortis had set in, and but we can't get a correct time frame. We've asked the medical examiner's office, and they actually said between 6 to 24 hours. The detectives with the Balch Springs Police Departments were called to respond to the scene and begin the investigation. During that investigation, things were collected, pictures were taken, and we actually made it into a crime scene. At that time, we started interviewing the family members, who was the mother and also the grandmother of the victim, and who were at the location. On 2/21 of 2025, the Balch Springs Police Department executed a search. On 2/21/2025, the Balch Springs Police Department executed a arrest warrant.
I'm literally so happy that I was able to stay up and catch some of, Mr. Steve's late lives at night, the morning, what do they call it? Morning watch stuff. That way I got the chance to meet Southern Gal and all the people on that. Southern Gal's an amazing person, and through Southern Gal, I met, Miss Barbara and Arctic True Fox and all of the great people, Minor Monsters. You guys are all awesome. Just great people. It's good to have done that. Good to have been able to do that.
On Crystal.
So it's all Mr. Steve's fault.
Canales. And right now we are still awaiting transfer to the Dallas County Jail. Crystal was arrested for serious bodily injury to a disabled person, and it is a second-degree felony. Any questions?
I know some of us saw the severity of how Delilah was found. Can you kind of describe that, the severity of what investigators saw when they found her?
Originally, when the officers arrived, they thought she was probably 13 and didn't realize she was 19 years old.
Anything ology. Don't get the high beams after me again.
It was, as described, skin to bone. There was large lacerations exposing decaying limbs, and even some of the bones from her shoulder and on her arm and her leg.
This is just absolutely sickening. This is just
she looked like she was in a mummified, in a mummy state of on the floor. I mean, it's just, I'm sorry.
This is terrible. This is just an amazing, horrible, just how can you do this to another human being? Just,
and she was just in a curled up position on the floor, and it was just unrecognizable for a 19-year-old to be in that position.
How long would you say it took for her to get to that state? The amount of time it took?
We don't know. We don't even have a time frame. We've spoken with several doctors and medical examiner's office, and we have, at this time, we don't have an idea. They're still doing running tests to see how long it took from, to get to that point.
Yep, ancient Chinese secret: never wake a sleeping baby. So mother-in-laws are for. Mother-in-laws are for. If your baby is finally asleep, they're gonna either come knocking at the door or call you on the phone.
There are other family members living in the house as well.
Correct. The mother, the grandmother of the victim, and the great uncle.
Will a grandmother and great uncle be facing any charges?
At this time, I'm not in the position to speculate if anything is going to happen to anyone else, but we're still continuing our investigation, and we will execute and interview as many people to figure out what happened and why did it get to this point.
Press release also mentioned the victim had a severe case of autism. Did that play any factor into how this played out?
The victim was nonverbal, and so there were times where she became extremely violent, punching, hitting, kicking family members. There was also an incident where she had an altercation on a school bus, but we're still investigating on that incident. But other family members did confirm that our victim was very aggressive towards family members, and sometimes they would be discouraged to interact with our victim.
You, has Ball Springs Police Department had any other interaction with the victim or the family over prior years? You mentioned the school bus incident.
The only incident that we had where we responded, or the last time we responded, was May of 2021, and it was just a welfare check. And so we went in there and everyone was fine, everyone was healthy, and there was no signs or issues at that time that led to something to this.
I noticed you kind of felt a little emotional talking about, you've seen the photos and you're not intentionally I'm not going to show those, you're not going to share those with us. Just describing this, it really gets to you seeing these photos.
But you're like me, you're a good dipshit. I will watch a little bit. I can't, this stuff here, I can't handle. It's just this person here. Unbelievable. Just absolutely unbelievable.
Knowing that this was a 19-year-old girl.
Absolutely. As a father, our job is to protect our children. And, when a nonverbal daughter lays helplessly, you sort of wonder what was going through her mind, where she couldn't communicate or even share some of her pain or suffering to others so that she can get additional help.
And you described for us somewhat the some of the injuries. You showed us on your arm. Could you kind of show some of the things you saw in the photos? Describe that for us again.
I don't remember specifically where. I was just pointing out on some, but I know that she was curled up and exposing on her right side, where she had, I know her shoulder bone was protruding out, and I know that she had some abrasions on her right leg, the way she was curled up.
This incident happened February 14th, which was 8 days ago. We're now hearing about it. Why did it take 8 days for the police to release anything? And what have y'all been doing in those 8 days?
During that time, we were interviewing teachers, students, neighbors, family members. We were trying to get an autopsy, and we were trying to figure out if what was going on from the medical examiner on what their results were. We weren't sure if the victim had choked on something, on the affidavit states that the mother was feeding her goldfish. So at that time, we were unsure if
feeding her goldfish,
what had happened at that time, and that led to her being deceased.
Could an earlier welfare check have changed the outcome of this?
Absolutely. If someone would have noticed or would have been any concern about the child, they could have easily called 911. We would have responded and personally checked on the victim, and maybe we wouldn't be here if that were.
I mean, the goldfish crackers are good. They're never going to last in this house. Yes, this is a sickening case.
What have happened?
You've been in this community for such a long time. Is this kind of one of the most worst?
Especially the blast, the fish, the blast, the goldfish blast with the blast of cheese. Those are the best. Those will not last at all. I used to steal them from my kids all the time, and I used to get in so much trouble for it too. We used to have like a factory of those types of snacks in the house.
Crimes you've seen in this community? I don't know. It seems like it has affected you.
It's not like ice cream in this house. If you wait too long for ice cream, you're just never going to have any. It's just not going to happen. So if there's ice cream in the freezer, you better eat it because
deeply.
It has affected me deeply. So as being public information officer for several years, we also worked a similar case where there was a child that occurred here in our city where the pastor thought that the child had demons. And so he went through the similar of not being fed, and similar characteristics from the victim were also.
Well, let's hope we get some answers soon from Miss Barbara here for sure. Yeah, that's the only good thing about February. It's a short month. Pretty sure it doesn't feel that short though, but it is technically a shorter month.
On the child, and so it did spark some memories about that.
Any message to the community that you want to say? If you see something like this, or how can the community help, or what can they do?
So it's important that the community and family members.
You can tell this cop right here is just shaken up here. This is not easy for him.
Do communicate with each other, especially if there are some signs of neglect, or if there's also a suspicion that the person is not well. By all means, call 911, report that, I want to do a welfare check to make sure that this person is well. And we'll go and make contact with that person to make sure that they're physically and mentally well. And normally the person who calls 911 wants them to do a follow-up and say, what happened? Are they okay? Do I need to intervene? Do I need to come from out of state or from out of the city to check up on my family member or even friend?
So we're going to get out of here. It's just a sad case. It's just a nightmare case. There's that other case going on. I think it's in Michigan where just these cases here just are awful. I don't know why I play them, but they're there for that. All right, so I'm going to get out of here. I want to thank everybody for being here. Again, I apologize for being late. Apologize for the beginning mistakes and stuff like that. But I literally raced home to get these footages from the crime scenes there. I'm going to be doing some more remotes too. Eventually, I want to do that as much as possible. As soon as the weather gets a little bit better here, some remote lives here, especially. I want to go up. Definitely want to get up to Maine, the Kimberly Moreau case. But I'm going to be doing a lot more other stuff around here. Go check out some of the places that some of these people went missing. for sure. Oh, you're welcome, Bob, Southern Guy. You're awesome. But I want to thank everybody for coming in. You guys are awesome. Southern Guy, you're amazing. Thank you so much for everything you do in the chat all your lives. All of the missing person cases and stuff like that. You do a fantastic job. Heather Brown, you're amazing. We're pulling for you this week here. I'm pretty sure you're going to be fine, but you need to let us know what's going on. Definitely love you. We want you to be well. Mino Dino, you're awesome. Thank you, buddy, for coming in. Everybody's great in here. Dirty Diana, thank you so much. Have some quiet time for yourself here soon. I always appreciate you guys being here. Barbara, you're awesome. Special shout out for Barbara. We love Barbara here. Just always here for Barbara. It's just an amazing person. She's what else can I say? She's just great. She's amazing. Charlotte, you're awesome. Thank you so much. It's good to see you. I was about to send the troops down to England to try to find you to make sure you're okay, but it's good to see you here again in the chat. Let's see. I know Lisa Joe was in here for sure. Lisa Joe's always welcome in here. She's awesome. I haven't seen Jocelyn around for a while. Miranda Lee was in here. Miranda Lee's amazing. I hope she's well. Paula Fitzhenry's amazing. Thank you for all the stuff you've been sending me. You're awesome. I can't do it without any of you guys. You guys are amazing. Okay, so who else? I know that PJ was in here. She's awesome. She's just an amazing person. Who else? I know Alosha was here. She was here early. I mean, whoever that is was here early. Thank you for coming in. Peggy was here. Thank you for coming in, Peggy. Everybody on the replay too. I know a lot of people are on the replay. I always appreciate you guys coming in. Thank you so much. Sorry for not being here on time. I'll try to get better at that. It's just I want to do a lot more of these spot location things. I know I'm going to miss some people. Honeybee was in here. Honeybee is amazing. Honeybee is just an amazing person. She does great work. Awesome stuff. Or that other dude from Alaska. Yeah. I just saw that now. All right, so I'm going to get out of here. I know Charles was in here too. Charles is awesome. He's always busy doing other people's lives too. You guys are all awesome. You just need to keep doing what you guys doing. Jenny 8675309 was here. Yep, she's awesome too. And you guys are great. I'm gonna play my outro and get out of here. Everybody stay safe this week and don't die. That's what you got to do is don't die. Okay. That's it. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna play my outro and get out of here. What the hell am I doing? All right, let's play an outro and I'll get out of here. I promise. Everybody stay safe for sure. Yep. Have a great week. I did it again. Nope, right here. What am I doing here? Almost there. Another second. All right. Take care, guys. I don't think kids birdie you either.
you